All right, class, here we go. Last chapter. We're on to chapter 10. Chapter 10 deals a lot with probability and statistics, so we will be getting into that. Our first lesson here, outcomes and events. There's a handful of vocabulary words here I want to go through and explain because you're going to need to know and understand them. First, when we're doing an experiment, that's when there is an investigation or a procedure that has varying results. So an example of an experiment we might have you do or think about is if you were to flip a coin, roll a dice, spin a spinner, or select a marble from a group of marbles. Outcomes are all of those possible results of the experiment. So if you were to pull marbles out of a bag, all the outcomes are each of the marbles that are in that bag. An event is a collection of one or more outcomes. So this is when it gets more specific, like the event of choosing a green marble from the group of marbles. So if there's varying colors, well, what about just selecting a green marble? Thinking about that specific event. And then favorable outcomes are the outcomes of that specific event that we're focusing on. So example, if there are 2 green marbles in the group of marbles, then there are 2 favorable outcomes of pulling green marbles. That's basically the possibilities of it happening. So let's do some examples here together. We're going to roll this dice. Now all dice, like a normal number cube or dice that you were to roll, has the numbers 1 through 6 on it. There's 6 sides, each with a different number. So what are the possible outcomes of rolling this dice? Meaning, what could you possibly land on when you roll a dice? Well, your possible outcomes are you can land on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or a 6. What are the favorable outcomes of rolling an even number? So out of all those possible outcomes, which ones are even? Well, that would be 2, 4, and 6. And then what are the favorable outcomes of rolling a number greater than 5? So again, looking at all the possible outcomes, which of those outcomes are greater than 5? Well, if there's just one, that would be 6. Let's look down at the next example. We're going to spin this spinner. So this spinner has, if we count it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different spots. You see 3 of them are red. Then we have a purple, blue, and a green. So how many possible outcomes are there? So when you spin that spinner, how many spots could it possibly land on? Well, there are 6 spots, so there are 6 possible outcomes. They asked how many. They didn't ask what they are, so we don't have to list them out. Next, in how many ways can spinning red occur? So in how many ways are there red? How many spots are red? Well, there are 3. So there are 3 ways. In how many ways can spinning not purple occur? Well, there's red, blue, red, green, red. So there are 5 different ways to not land on purple. What are those favorable outcomes of spinning not purple? So this is where you list out, okay, well, I can land on red, red, red. I could land on blue or green. So this is when you would just list them out. Perfect. Now, here's our last example of our lesson. What I want you to do is for your own practice. Pause the video, try this number 1 here, parts A and B, and then press play when you're ready. All right, welcome back. You should have tried this on your own. So it says you randomly choose a letter from the hat that contains the letters A through K. What are the possible outcomes? So I would list out, we have all the letters A through K. So A, B, C, D, E, So those are all my possible outcomes. If you count them up, there's 11 of them. And then part B says, what are the favorable outcomes of choosing a vowel? So out of what you have there, which ones are vowels? Well, A, E, and I. So I would say A, E, and I. And that's it. So hopefully you checked yourself, you tried that on your own. All right, let me know.